Okay, here we go, 8.1. I'm gonna do something a little bit different on this. For A and B, so for A and B, we are going to solve for the unknown, so Y and X. So the first step always is to color in your angle. So I'm just color in this 70-degree angle here. That's the one we're gonna work with. That's why I do that. So color in. Here's the 4-step process. Color in. The second step is ADJ hypo OPP. The third step is SOHCAHTOA. And the fourth step is just algebra. Okay, so colored it in. Check that one. Now you got to do ADJ hypo op. So what does that mean? Well, let's label these. So X touches this angle, so it's ADJ. 5 is across from the 90, so that's hypo. Okay, so we're done with steps 1 and 2. This is opposite. Now, you want to use the one you're trying to solve for and the one you're given. So you're given the hypotenuse, you're trying to solve for X. So you'll see an A and an H. SOHCAHTOA, so I'm going to use Ka because there's the A and the H. That's the only one that has both the A and the H. So we're going to end up using cosine for the one with the red. So what you do is you set up an equation. So over here, I'll just do it. So cosine, and then you put your parentheses, and then you always want to rewrite the A and the H. So the A is ADJ, H is the hypo. Now what goes in these parentheses? Well, the angle, which is 70. Okay, now you compute cosine of 70. Cosine 70 equals 0.342. So 0.342. That's going to equal adjacent divided by hypotenuse. So X over 5. Got a floating decimal, throw a 1 underneath. And you can cross multiply. X times 1 is X. 5 times 0.342 is 1.71. So this X equals 1.71. You solved for X, and just let's revisit what we did. We colored in the angle. We identified the sides. We chose cosine because we used the A and the H. And then we just did some algebra. All right, let's do letter B. So for this one, step 1, color in your angle. So you color that one in. Step 2, identify the sides. This is opposite, adjacent, hypo. Opposite side does not touch the angle. Adjacent does. And hypo is always across from the 90. Okay, you got to use the 6 to solve for Y. So we're going to have the A and the O. So you go back up to step 3, SOHCAHTOA, O and the A. We're going to use TOA, O and the A. It's the only one that has both the O and the A. So then you say tan, whatever your angle is. And then this is the step I want you to rewrite. Op over adjacent, so you don't make any mistakes. Put the angle in there. Now we're on to just step 4, which is algebra. So compute tan 20. That equals 0.364. Gotta round up because there's a 9 after that 3. Opposite was Y. Adjacent was 6. Floating decimal. Cross multiply. Y times 1 is y. 6 times 0.364 is 2.183 with an 8 at the end, so y equals let's just say 2.2. So that's how you solve for these. You got x and you got y following these same 4 steps. Color in your angle, label your sides, choose a trig function, do some algebra. Easy peasy. Now let's look at C. This is C right here. The reason you cannot use SOHCAHTOA is because you have a 115, a 15, so 130, so this is 50. There's no right angle, so you can't use SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA is out. This is out. Because you need a right angle. There's a right angle. There's a right angle. Alright, let's look at D. You have a right angle, so SOHCAHTOA could be in. You have your X, you have your 2.5, but they did not give you, so no given acute angle. You need one of the acute angles. You either need a acute angle and a side, or you need 2 sides, but they only give you 1 side, so can't do anything with that. But these 2 you can solve for. All right, let's go to number 8.2. So your teacher will assign you to either column A or column B. Find the value of the problems for the ones in your column. So here we go. Let's just do all the A's first. So let me rewrite the steps. 1, color. 2, you got to identify ADJ, hypo, op. 3, SOHCAHTOA. And 4, algebra. So if you can remember these 4 steps, you should be good. So color in your angle. All right, here's red. Check that off. Next up, ADJ, hypo, op. Okay. ADJ, hypo, op. Now, for SOHCAHTOA, you always got to choose 2. The given side and the solve for. So you need the given and the solve for. Here's the given. This is the one you need to solve for. So that's the A and the H. Therefore, I'm going to use CA. There's the A and the H. So you say cos, whatever your angle is, equals ADJ over hypo. Angle is 41. Cos 41 equals 0.755. 0.755. Rounded up because there was a 7 after that 4. Okay. ADJ is 7. Hypo is X. Got a floating decimal, throw a 1 underneath it. Cross multiply. You're going to get 0.755x equals 7. Divide both by 0.755. Divided by 0.755. These are out of here. X equals 7 divided by 0.755. So you should get 9.27. Let's just call it 9.3. 9.3. Check. Done. Okay. Let's go back to A2. Okay, so you got this 65 right here. So again, color in your angle. Next up is ADJ hypo op. So Y is op. 6 is hypo. How do I know that? Because this side does not touch this angle, so it's opposite. Hypo is across from the 90. All right, so you got the H and the O. So next up, you got to choose which one has the H and the O. This one does. So you'll say sin, put the parentheses, equals op over hypo. So that's what the S is, the op, and there's the hypo. Okay, 65. Sin, 65, enter, 0.906, so 0.906 equals opposite, y, over hypo, 6. Cross multiply, y times 1 is y, 6 times 0.906 is 5.4378, so let's just call it 5.4. So this equals 5.4. Done with A2. Let's go on to A3. All right, remember, first step, color in your angle. Why do I do this? It's just, I don't know, visually appealing. Makes me calm down a little bit. I can organize my thoughts. The 8 is the OPP. The Z is the hypo. Why? Because this leg, it's opposite because it doesn't touch this angle. This is the hypo because it's across from the 90. Okay, so next up, so we labeled our legs. Now you got to choose so, ka, or toa. You got the O and the H. So that's going to be so. So here's the work. You go sin, put the parentheses, write the O and the H again, OPP over hypo. Angle's 50. Sin 50 equals 0.766. 0.766. Opposite, we already labeled it, 8. Hypo is Z. Floating decimal, throw a 1. Cross multiply. So you're going to get Z times 0.766 equals 1 times 8, which is 8. Divide both by that. That's out of here. Z will equal 8 divided by 0.766. Which equals 10.443. So Z is 10.4. Alright, let's move on to column B. So here's B1. I'm going to use green for the B's. It's like Christmas, I guess. Alright, so colored in my angle. Now it's time for step 2, ADJ hypo op. So this is op, and this is hypo. Opposite leg does not touch the angle. Hypo is across from the 90. You got the O and the H, so now it's time for so, ka, toa. You're going to choose so, because it has the O and the H. So here's the algebra, step 4. You say sin of your angle equals OPP over hypo. You see in the SOH. Okay, sin 49. That's your angle, remember? Sin 49, answer 0.755. 0.755. Opposite is 7. Hypo is X. Floating decimal, throw a 1 underneath. Cross multiply. X times 0.755 equals 7. 1 times 7 is 7. Now it's algebra time. This is out of here. So X is going to equal 7 divided by 0.755, which equals 9.27. So X equals 9.3. Okay. Let's go to this 25 right here. Colored it in. Now it's time for ADJ and hypo. Got the A and the H, so you're going to use ka. Cosine 25 equals ADJ over hypo. Cos 25, 0.906 equals y over 6, floating decimal. Y equals 6 times 0.906, 5.4 again. Weird. Okay, let's move on to B3. Color in that 40. Step 1. ADJ hypo op. That's op. That's hypo. That's ADJ. I'm going to use the one that you're given and the one you need to solve for. Remember, choose two, the given and the one you need to solve for. The A and the H, use ka. So this is a cosine problem. So say cosine, throw parentheses, rewrite the A and the H as ADJ over hypo. Cosine your angle. Cos 40 equals 0.766. ADJ is 8. Hypo is Z. Cross multiply. It's the same as this. You're going to end up getting Z times 0.766 equals 8 divided by 0.766 divided by 0.766. Cross those out. 8 divided by 0.766 is 10.4. Now, let's look at the red versus the green. So, red 41, green 49, red 65, green 25, red 50, green 40. These all add up to 90. So 50 plus 40 is 90, 65 plus 25 is 90, 41 plus 49 is 90. Now you also notice that cosine 41 is the same as sine of 49. They're both 0.755. You also notice that sin of 65 is the same as cosine of 25, 0.906. And you may also notice that sin of 50 is the same as cosine of 40, 0.766. Now, 8.3 is really going to highlight that. So, draw a diagram that will help you explain why sine of theta equals cosine 90 minus theta. This is just a Greek symbol. It's just like a X, essentially. So one thing I can do is draw two congruent right triangles. So here's the first one. And we'll say this is 4. This 13 and 9 is 4. I'll make this one 3. Make sure I drew it pretty much perpendicular. This is 3. This is a right angle. This should be 5. Yep. Okay. We'll do another one. 0 to 4. 0 to 3. Now, from Unit 2 incongruence, you're going to hopefully remember this. How do I automatically know, just with 3, the 4, and the 90, but just with the 3, the 4, and the 90, 3, the 4, and the 90, how do I know that these are congruent? This triangle is congruent to this one. Because of side, angle, side. Remember, if you have two sides plus the angle between them the same, then the two triangles are congruent. Okay, we're going to call this one, this angle right here, theta. Okay? So this is theta, the green one. Theta is just a number. We don't know what it is yet. The reason this one is 90 minus theta, which we'll call red. I guess we'll stick to a Christmas theme today. We label these triangles, call them A, B, C, A, B, C. So, this angle plus this angle so this plus this are gonna equal 90 degrees because this one is 90 and this plus this all add up to 180. The 180 is called the triangle sum theorem. We talk about that a lot. So any triangle, you have three angles that add up to 180. If you take the 90 out of it, the remaining two will add up to 90 because 90 plus 90 equals 180. So that's why we can say that if this is theta, a Greek symbol, then this is 90 minus theta. So in both instances, theta, 90 minus theta. This is just a Greek symbol. It's very similar to like X. They just use different letters. It's Greece, different language. So anyway, these two are gonna add, this and this are gonna add up to 90. This and this are gonna add up to 90. Both of these triangles are congruent, meaning that corresponding angles are congruent. So theta, theta, 90 minus theta, theta, 90 minus theta. Now, we have to draw a diagram, so we're halfway there. But I want you to, with the green pencil, identify, so we're going to do the ADJ hypo op. It's really important. So the 3 is opposite. The 4 is adjacent. And this is hypo. Now let's move to the red. This is now opposite. This is ADJ. And this is hypo. So let's rewrite SOHCAHTOA. Now, sin of theta will equal op over hypo. Why? Because of so. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. So, opposite 3, hypo, we don't know. Let's just call it Z. Now, I want to do cosine of this angle, which we already identified was 90 minus theta. Cosine is ADJ over hypo. So that will equal 3 over Z. So sin of theta equals cosine 90 minus theta. All right, let's try cosine of theta. Cosine equals ADJ divided by hypo, or in this case, 4 over Z. Now let's do sin of this one right here. So is op over hypo. So op for hypo z. So that's weird. Cosine of theta equals sine of 90 minus theta. Sine of theta equals cosine 90 minus theta. So why is that? Well, you have to explain why. Sin theta equals cosine 90 minus theta because, as you can see in the diagram, ADJ and OPP switch for complementary angles. So, look at the green one. 3 is opposite, 4 is adjacent. Look at the red one. 4 is now opposite, 3 is adjacent. That's why sine of this one equals cosine of this one, or cosine of this one equals sine of this one. Okay, there was lesson 8. The main lesson is that sin of an x or theta will equal cosine 90 minus x. Cosine of an angle will equal sine 90 minus x. All right, more and more practice. This is the table that you need right here. So cosine of 25.906, sine of 65.906. See how they're flipped? Sine of 25 right here will equal cosine of 65 right here. That's a good example. Alrighty, lesson 8. It's getting harder. It's okay. Just keep plugging away. Same deal.